Maybe that's what it is.
Good, Dave. It's 6:30. I'd like to call the Thursday, August 11th meeting of the Woodland Park Planning Commission to order. We take roll call, please.
Chairman Hartsfield,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Harvey,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Larson,
Here.
and Commissioner Nielsen.
Here.
Please join me in pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item is to approve the minutes. Any comment or corrections? on the minutes? None, we have a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ken. Roll.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Abstain. I was not here.
Commissioner Nielsen,
Yes.
and Chairman Hartsfield.
Yes,
Passes 5-0.
thank you. Takes us to public hearings. We have one tonight. We start with the vacation 2022-01, the vacated portion of the 50-foot public right-of-way located on lot 1A, the homes at Brecken Heights, as requested by Mark McNabb, multifamily suburban zone. Staff report. Well-
Yes, and I'm actually going to turn it over to Will Charles. We have contracted with a private company to help provide some planning support since we have been unsuccessful so far in getting a new senior planner on staff. We continue to recruit, but in the meantime, we needed some assistance. So Will is here to show you all his hard work.
Welcome.
Welcome, Will.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. Yep, so as you said, Will Charles. So I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick, just so we can all see it.
That's your first challenge here. No one ever gets it.
There we go. It's like magic. Alrighty. Yep. So as you mentioned, this is a vacation of right of way. It is approximately 1,000 square feet of right of way that is looking to be vacated in the Alpine Meadows Drive right of way. So on this map, as you can see, there's Highway 24 and then the Morning Sun Drive to the east or to the right of it. The little portion that kind of bends around, there's a right of way that kind of dead ends about 100 or so feet in. So that's that Alpine Meadows Drive. And then you can see there's an actual, right of way that feeds the under construction subdivision directly to the north of it.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. So as you can see on this, this is kind of current conditions. So you can see the homes being constructed kind of further down the road. And the portion that's kind of the brown dirt in front of you would be the portion that we're discussing here tonight as far as the vacation. So that portion that's already behind this existing curb line. So just a site plan view of it. So in the final plat that came before this commission as well as city council back in April, this small portion was already drawn into that lot 1A that's kind of underneath this parcel A that you can see on here. So this would be vacating it and basically having it where that private lot line would be there and not overlapping with this portion of right of way. Just as far as zoning, you can kind of see the orange portion, the multifamily residential suburban. That is where we're talking about. The kind of back portion of it is deeded as open space, and then the front portion is the area that is the currently under construction subdivision. Just another kind of site overall of the property. Oh, good, my pace isn't in the way on that one. So you can kind of see where how the homes and the subdivision is laid out, as well as in the left or the left picture, that is how the right of way currently sits today. So with that kind of rectangular end to it. This was referred to multiple outside agencies as well as a few departments of the city, and we did not receive any issues or concerns as far as the vacation of this right of way. Vacations of right of way are handled through Chapter 12, Section 8 of the code, which lays out a decent number of criteria to look for. These are the ones that are applicable. So the city's right to vacate, that one, the city owns that property, so they can vacate it. As far as the policy, or number 2, its effect on things such as utilities, emergency services, lot access, road construction, that kind of thing. This property will still be served by the other right of way that's directly to the west of it that was part of that subdivision. And then any of the utility easements or anything like that that were established with the final plat back in April would still remain once this vacation goes through. Same thing for vesting. This property is going to the nearest adjacent property, which is one of the rules by which to vest the property. Same thing as number 2, kind of goes into utility reservation. Those any of those utility easements that surround the property would stay. And then 5 and 6 are pretty self-explanatory on this. They submitted a full application, and if approved by this commission as well as council, it will be approved by ordinance, which will be at the end of this PowerPoint. It is also an attachment in your packet. If approved, the ordinance would also be recorded with Teller County, and then any fees that the applicant needs to pay, they will pay. Getting to the end here, but as far as recommendations, staff is recommending forwarding this ordinance number 1428 to City Council with a recommendation of approval. And then here is just for reference that ordinance, as well as that same picture from earlier where it showed the parcel A, and that as the exhibit A referenced in section 1 of that ordinance. But that is it for the presentation, unless you have any questions for me.
Without checking, is the 1428 there the same as the 1406 was in our package, just renumbered?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Was there any other difference?
No, that's the, well,
There actually was.
Well, I've got a question about the substance of it too.
Yeah, no, there, we had a little oops in terms of which copy we in-house here put in your packet. So it was actually under, I think it's section 3, the one in your packet referenced a different lot and subdivision.
That was my other question. Why does
Which-
Elm Heights get the property?
Yeah, no, they don't. You can see on the screen here that that's been corrected, that section 3 reads, there is hereby reserved by and to the city all utility and drainage easements established under the Homes at Brecken Heights plat filed with Teller County, and it references the reception number. And then section 2 clearly puts the vesting of this parcel with lot 1A in the Homes at Brecken Heights. So the substance should be
Okay, well,
technically
that was my
correct.
other question, was the wrong lots being referred to.
Yeah. So my apologies.
My other question you described, could you help, well, first off, is, I guess if you go there, well, maybe we could look at it from here. Behind the existing building, the driveway enters in the sort of to the southeast of the,
this one,
yeah, well, no, that, yeah, exactly. Where is that physical, where is that on the map relatively? Because I never see a map that lays that out.
yeah.
You know what I mean when I say that? How does it, where does it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, so this curb line is pretty pretty identical with that orange line that goes around. The part where it kind of does that cut or that cut back in this is kind of approximations at that point, but where those rocks are, that's kind of where that cut out. And then there's a little utility and access easement that you won't be able to read on this one, but it's essentially this little kind of corner cut right here.
If you go back to the last one, point with your arrow.
Yeah, so about right.
No, the map, not the pic photo.
Oh.
Right there is,
Yeah.
so it hits right where it says Alpine Meadows Drive, right above it, there's a line. So it hits to the left of that line, so.
Yeah, I mean, if we were imagining this on the
It doesn't hit the
ground,
south side of lot 1A.
yeah. So I mean, if we were imagining this on the ground, there's the curb line kind of cuts in similar to this,
Okay,
and there's this like an ingress egress utility access easement that
okay.
hits that little corner.
What are the implications of this parcel A to lot 1A? Is it just mean it doesn't have sufficient room for a driveway? Or what are the implications of there not being a vacation on lot 1A or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, it could have impacts as far as the way it was subdivided originally. You know, it was kind of with the intent of that portion being in there. Karen, I don't know if you.
Diana from the applicant is here, and she can probably address that a little bit. But in my conversations, we had talked, some of it was just to make sure that this parcel did have more functional, usable yard that was really theirs and not technically right away that's never going to be constructed. From a staff perspective, coming in a year later, not part of the original review process, it would have been preferable if this had been caught in the review process and cleaned up at that point and actually drawn a little differently. But that did not happen. So we're here today to try and make an icky situation better. Is it perfect by this proposal? No, but it's better.
The substantive question comes to mind is the extra space. Well, first off, a number of questions were raised when this subdivision was first proposed about traffic, people lining up for parking as we got a lot more cars coming in and such. Is there some possibility that in the future, having a third lane wide and that would provide some extra width of the connection between Brecken Court and Morning Sun would provide some ability to better manage that intersection if it turns out to be a problem? Just by having, right, there's extra width, it's Breckenridge is 2 lanes wide. This makes the 3 lanes wide for the access entrance and either 2 coming in or 2 coming out.
Coming in at this point in the process, we did not go back and read the traffic reports associated with the final plat that has been recorded. So I don't have that knowledge base that I guess based on the number of dwellings in this particular subdivision, I find it difficult to believe that there would have been a recommendation, whether now or 20 years from now, that this dead end would have required a third lane of traffic.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say there was a recommendation. I'm just saying there was discussion about cars backing up and
Yeah.
how they position there on Morning Sun from. Oh, right.
And this is a tangent off of Morning Sun. This isn't on Morning Sun at all.
Yeah, I see. Okay. All right, enough for me for this.
I would assume the applicant that could talk to the traffic analysis that was done with the original plat.
I'm sorry. what was-
I guess that the applicant could talk to the traffic analysis that was done with the original plat. It
Potentially?
really isn't applicable to this application, but it is a good question. Just to refresh our memories on
Yeah,
what the traffic situation or the traffic analysis was.
she can certainly, I believe, tell us exactly how many units are being constructed in there and that sort of thing. So.
We'll take your comments in a moment.
Do you
after
need me
we-
to answer the question?
We'll ask you to come up
Okay,
and address
sorry.
council in a moment after we go through questions to staff.
I'll wait. I'll ask my question for when she.
My question, It's just because I just don't know how this works. If we vacate that right of way, is there any exchange of money? I mean, do they pay for it or is it just transferred to them just for convenience sake?
It's just transferred. There's nothing that happens in terms of a financial exchange.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's something that the city doesn't want in that
Okay.
yard. So I believe there is a deed that does get transferred to kind of clean that up. But I've seen different communities handle that differently, but I believe that is the situation here.
And it's a small amount of land, right? It's not very big.
It's right at
1,000
about
square feet.
1,000 square feet.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
We don't have any exhibits that show the proposed road overlay on these properties that we can see.
You mean, yeah, I mean, so there's this, but I mean, you can see where that road is drawn on there and that curb line is kind of already established in the,
So I guess looking at this picture, we see the lane coming out towards us. We got the sign on the right, so that curb beyond the turn to the right would remain.
yeah, I mean,
So that you're not anticipating any realignment of the road beyond what's there currently.
correct.
They've been building it per the approved construction plans for the Brecken Heights development.
So
Which
it's
was based on the recorded plat and not that Alpine Drive.
But based on this photo, no changes will be made to the pavement or concrete
That's
curb.
what my
thing
question
anticipated.
was.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think there might be some new signage and things like that that go out there, but nothing substantial or concrete.
Oh.
I'm glad you got that one.
And then to clarify, Brecken Court, is that a city street or will be a city street?
I believe so, yes.
So when you, going back to the first one, when you first initially turn in, it's a turn in and then you have that wonky, you have to go over the median there if you want
Mhm.
to take a left, right? If you're going up towards
Yeah.
the city, okay.
Yeah, and I know the city's engineering department is working with the applicant on this kind of portion of it, this little bit of intersection. And
Yeah, it's weird
cleaning a little bit of that up to,
because you can,
Um,
you can turn in and then there's a straight and then you have to go over and turn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What does the sign say? I can't read it.
The what? to the
That was his
right.
one way, do not enter. Yeah,
Okay,
and that's
so
for that,
The other lot, you can
To the
exit the
right.
lot, but you can't enter the lot
Yeah,
from there.
that's behind that.
yeah.
Title
Office building.
company, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff at this time? Now we'd like to invite the applicant to come up and address any issues or whatever presentation you'd like to make.
My name is Diana Hartnett, and I'm assistant to Mark McNabb, the owner of Brecken Heights LLC. And just to clarify, the signage is definitely, like you had said, is going to be added in, and that will help the traffic flow in that area tremendously. That is definitely we have a plan in place that was part of the original construction plans for this property. And so we have that in motion to get that signage put in there, will be part of the final acceptance of the road. Was there any other questions? That overlap, it's just this is just to reiterate, it's a partial vacation of the right of way. The majority of the right of way that was in place, which was an existing right of way, unused right of way on that piece of property, is going to remain in place, and it is part of the road that's already in place, which we built exactly to the way it's drawn out in the plat.
Questions for the applicant?
The question I had is, do you recall what the traffic analysis was?
Oh, yes, we had a full traffic analysis done of that, and everything's been put into place exactly as agreed.
So even
With
though that's
CDOT.
particularly, it can be a very busy intersection, so
Yes.
the number of units that you're planning will not impact that traffic flow in significant amounts.
Well, they did a full traffic study of the, looking at the amount of units that are going to be on site and amount of cars and that type of thing, and it's all been approved.
How many units?
There's 32 units, 16 buildings that are going to be single family attached homes. So two homes per building.
Okay. Thanks.
Other questions? Well, thank you for coming up and
Sure.
addressing.
Sure, thank you very much.
At this point, we will open the discussion for public comment. And anybody in the audience signed up, David?
Signed up.
Thank you. If you'd like to come up and speak, you're more than welcome. Do we have anybody online, David? Okay, well, I guess the final request, anyone wanting to speak, make comment on this project? Last call. All right, thank you. Public hearings now closed. So I guess we open to discussion. Any comments from the commissioners? Any questions for anyone?
In my opinion, I think this is just a cleanup.
I think that's largely right, especially focusing on the question you raised. The concrete that's already there doesn't seem to have created a problem to the adjacent building, how it's set up, how their parking lot exit was eventually, so they haven't heard from them as a problem. So this is dirt area that's not proposed to be used. Why not let lot 1A have it?
Other questions or comments? I guess we're looking for a motion.
I move to approve VAC 2022-01 to vacate approximately 1,000 square feet of Alpine Metals Drive right away to Bracken Heights LLC to be included in lot 1A of the homes at Bracken Heights.
Second.
Very good. We take a poll.
One question, though. They will correct the ordinance number for the council.
Yes, that's already been done. The correct version was in the PowerPoint. So thank you for that.
We have a motion and a second. Take a poll of the commissioners, please.
Sure. Commissioner Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nielsen,
Yes.
Chairman Hartsfield,
Yes,
and Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Motion passes.
very good. That concludes our public hearings for this evening. We go to reports. Does staff have any report?
Just a couple of notes about upcoming meetings. You're going to be busy this month, but there's good news at the end of that. So next Thursday, the 18th, there's a joint work session scheduled with you all and City Council at 5 p.m. And we're picking back up one of our favorite topics, short-term rentals,
What time was that again?
5 p.m. and they're providing dinner. Don't know what it is.
Free.
Sorry. So yeah, please mark your calendars next Thursday for the next work session related to the short-term rentals and the ordinance that's under development right now. Then the next item is your meeting on August 25th. We do have one item on that agenda. And I'm drawing a blank what it is, but to the best of my knowledge, we are expecting it to be fairly straightforward.
We like these projects.
Yeah. Yeah. And then September 8th, there's no meeting that night, so you get that meeting off. And I honestly don't know what's shaping up for the latter part of the month of September, but that's what your schedule is looking like right now.
The work session, we have the draft tomorrow. Usually we get things by Friday beforehand.
Based on an email that I just saw fly around, it sounds like it'll be early next week when something gets sent out in advance of that work
Because
session.
that's when it will be helpful to us to have several days at least
Yeah.
to go through.
Be
it.
nice.
Well, and I actually just got the draft today, so I've not had an opportunity to read through it either. So staff is, I guess, finessing a couple of points to make sure we're reasonably comfortable with what we do get distributed to everybody for that work session. So I'll let them know you were looking for it already. It's fair. That's all I have.
Any other comments or reports from?
Would you like a motion to adjourn?
Well, I wanted to thank Will initially for his presentation tonight. Well done. And look forward to working with you in the future.
And depending
Appreciate it.
upon the item and some of what's going on, we may be seeing Will virtually as opposed to in person, just as part of a cost savings approach to some of this. But in the meantime, I wanted to make sure that you all got to meet him in person and just that opportunity to truly shake hands is always kind of a nice way to start to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Like make a motion.
I move we adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is 6:55. Meeting is adjourned.